Good luck.
Merhaba arkadaşlar, hepiniz IEFT Talks webinarlarına hoş geldiniz. Bugün Vancouver'ın en büyük devlet koleji Douglas College'da eğitim, Kanada'da çalışma ve göçmenlik hakkında Tamara ve Onur Bey'den bilgiler alıyor olacağız. Lütfen sorularınızı questions kısmından sormayı unutmayın. Buyurun Onur Bey, sahne sizin.
Herkese Douglas College ve kendi eğitim danışmanlığından merhabalar. Douglas College, Zeynep Hanım'ın da bahsettiği gibi Kanada'nın en batı şehri olan Vancouver'daki en büyük British Columbia eyaletinin devlet koleji. Lise ve üniversite mezunlarına özel 1, 2, 3 ve 4 senelik birçok bölümü var. Lise sonrası eğitim alabilirsiniz. Ardından üniversiteye transfer alabilirsiniz. Üniversite mezunları için de üniversite mezunlarına özel ve herkesin de gidebildiği 1, 2, 3 yıllık yine sertifika diploma programları var. Biz de Douglas College'da yaklaşık 20 yıldır çalışan, ayrıca kendimizde Kanada vatandaşı olan ben ve babam bir şirketi temsil ediyoruz. Vancouver'da uzun yıllar yaşadım. Hala gidip geliyorum. Tamara oranın admissions direktörü, yani kabul alma departmanının direktörü. Ayrıca da lisanslı Kanada göçmenlik danışmanı, IRCC üyesi olan biri. Douglas College'la, Vancouver'la, Kanada ile ilgili bilgiler verecek, sunumunu yapacak. Sorularınızı dediği gibi Zeynep Hanım'ın questions bölümüne yazarsanız sonunda bütün sorulara cevap vereceğiz İngilizce ve Türkçe. Şimdi sözü Tamara'ya bırakıyorum. Tamara, the microphone is yours.
Thank you, Onur. Hi, everybody. I'm very happy to see you today. I hope it's a nice evening wherever you are. Well, in Vancouver, it's early morning. It's the middle of the week. We're all very busy at Douglas College processing applications for students who are applying to study in Canada in January 2022. We are preparing for the fall intake. We'll have currently about 1,000 students coming to Canada. That's the plan, to start studying at Douglas College this fall. As you know, during the pandemic, a lot of students studied online from their home country. But this fall, this September, hopefully we will have many students coming and starting to study on campus at Douglas College. We will have lots and lots of classes that will be taught by our instructors in class. So this is a good news for everybody after about a year and a half of online study. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and then I'll tell you a little bit about the place where I work, Douglas College. I've been working for Douglas and helping students from Eastern Europe, Western Europe, from Turkey and Israel for about 3 years. And then so I help process the documents for admission. So if you choose to apply to Douglas, then I will be looking at your IELTS results, your TOEFL results. I'll be looking at your transcript, your high school mathematics grade. So if you are choosing to apply to Douglas, then you'll be dealing with me. Just to give you a couple of words about who I am and what I've done. I came to Canada about 12 years ago as an international student, just like yourself. I went to university here and then I completed a program. And then I applied for something that's called postgraduate work permit, something you can apply for after you graduate from a public school here. And then I received the work permit for 3 years. I worked, and then I applied for permanent residency in Canada. And here I am 12 years later. I'm still here in Canada, in Vancouver. All right, let me share my screen. To share a screen. Okay. Perfect. So today we will be talking about pathways to higher education in Canada, pathways to permanent residency in Canada. If any of you have been to Vancouver or maybe Canada, I will be happy to know about it if you type it in the chat. Which cities you visited and what you liked, what you didn't like about Canada, that would be great to know for me, just to learn a little bit more about what kind of audience we have today. But I will tell you a little bit about Vancouver, because I think for many students who choose Canada to study, they go to Toronto or they go to Ontario. This is the #1 destination for everybody in Canada for international students, because you have friends, you have relatives there. It's very close and there are direct flights. But today I would like to tell you a little bit about British Columbia. It's the most western province in Canada, and then a beautiful city of Vancouver. So it's, to me, because I spent so many years living in Alberta, in Calgary and Edmonton, Vancouver, it's like a breath of fresh air because there is no winter here. So I don't know about you personally, but I'm the person who doesn't like winters. I get very cold. I get, very unhappy when I have to, wear many layers. And then Canada, there is a lot of winter in Canada, and then Vancouver or British Columbia, it's very different. We don't really have winter here, and the lowest temperatures we can get here is probably -2 or about 0. So when it's when suddenly we have snow in winter, which doesn't happen very often, then everybody stays at home. And then even I remember a couple of years ago at Douglas College, when we had snow, our team, we were allowed to work from home. They told us, no, don't come to campus. Snow, it's not the good thing to go to campus when it's snowing. So this is how different the climate is in Vancouver, British Columbia. So my friend John Noor has lived for a while in Vancouver and in Toronto. So I'm curious to know your opinion about this province. Which one do you like? Which one do you prefer? Do you prefer Ontario, British Columbia, or you like both?
I cannot say that if I prefer Saskatchewan or Ontario, because we're representing BC now. But I can tell that BC is very beautiful. And Vancouver was really a city that deserves, the status of the most livable city in the world. It was chosen 7-8 times, I think. I can say this in Turkish as well. It is a beautiful place, very, very peaceful, very quiet, clean, safe, and the weather is very mild. It doesn't get too hot, it doesn't get too cold. That was really great. Summertime, you don't sweat. Wintertime, you don't get cold. I would recommend to many people. It's not as active as maybe Toronto or Montreal, but there's still a lot of activity. It's the 3rd largest city. It's about 2.5 million people. So Vancouver'la diğer şehirleri kıyasladığımda Vancouver tabii en batı ucunda bir bölgesel iklimden dolayı çok soğuk olmayan kışın, yani çok az soğuyan, yazın da çok aşırı sıcak olmayan ama şortla gezilebilecek bir yer. Ve Toronto, Montreal kadar aktif olmasa da yine 2,5 milyon nüfusu olan bir şehir. British Columbia eyaleti gerçekten çok güzel bir eyalet ve Vancouver'da güvenlik, sağlık, temizlik birçok alanda bu dünyanın en yaşanılır şehri seçilmeyi de gerçekten hak eden bir, yani maket gibi, kartpostal gibi bir şehir. Güzel bir yer. Özellikle huzur arayan insanlar için çok doğru bir karar. Tamara da çok seviyor. Tamara likes it a lot, I think. Right? As far as I know.
What I like a lot is, during the pandemic, we can't really travel anywhere. But because Vancouver is a touristy city already, 5 minutes away from my house, I have the beach, I have the ocean, and then I can see the mountains out of my window, even though I'm downtown Vancouver. So to me, it's like vacationing. But I don't have to travel anywhere. So the nature and climate, I would say, are really beautiful, and especially in the pandemic when you can't travel much abroad, and then Vancouver brings all the vacation time to you. But this is all, it's all lyrics. But our students, when they come to Canada and when they choose which place to go to, of course, their number one question is, okay, well, I'll come to study in Vancouver, I'll come to study at Douglas, but do you think I can find a job after I graduate? Are there many jobs in there? And then Vancouver is really a great destination because if you look at the statistical data, British Columbia and Vancouver, they are one of the top destinations by economic growth, which means that we have constantly a growing number of jobs here. So if you graduate from a place in BC, then you are more likely to get a job after you graduate. So in the next 10 years, we plan to have about 900,000 jobs available here in the province. And then we also have the lowest unemployment rate in Canada. So, for example, if you're a new immigrant in Canada, what's important to understand is that about half of new immigrants, about 44% to be exact, immigrants, they come to Ontario right away and they stay in Ontario. So there is a lot of competition for those first jobs that our students may face if they stay in Ontario and look for their first job. In BC, in British Columbia, there is a bit less competition for a new job, so it might be better place to look for that first job. And then Vancouver is that has several industries that are very, very well developed. So if you are, for example, interested in a career in IT, in computing science, if you're looking for a career in hospitality, and then a few other industries, then Vancouver would definitely be the way to go to. We're called the Silicon Valley of Canada because we're only 40 minutes away from a border with the United States, where we have San Francisco, we have Seattle. So we have all these huge IT companies and small ones as well. And they come to Canada and open their offices here. So in terms of technical sector, IT jobs, computing science, data analytics, cybersecurity, all those AI, emerging technologies jobs, then we will have about 50,000 new job openings in 2021. This is the prediction. Okay, so I mentioned that large or small technical companies opening offices here. We have Facebook office downtown, we have Microsoft, we have Amazon office downtown, and then they constantly hire. So by the number of jobs in the IT sector, Vancouver actually was named the top North American city. So we even are ahead of San Francisco, we are ahead of Seattle, New York, and Toronto in terms of how many jobs in IT sector we have. Okay, so there are a few industries where I would recommend looking for jobs, or where I would recommend looking for your education. So I get asked a lot, okay, well, can you tell me the program so I can find my job faster? Which industry should I go to? Or which industry should my son or daughter go to? And then, so I put here the top 5 industries in British Columbia where we have most jobs and where we plan to have most jobs in the next 10 years. So in the next 10 years, the major industries where we will have most jobs in British Columbia are health and social services industry. We will have most jobs in the professional, scientific, and technical services industry, which is IT, accounting, marketing. We need more marketing, financial professionals. So we'll have about 100,000 jobs. Obviously, retail and sales is another industry where we have most jobs. So if you are choosing your education, maybe you can look into this top 3 or top 5 industries. Okay, so Anura, would you like to comment anything from your experience as an education consultant?
Yes, Tamara, Onur has just lost his connection, so we are waiting for him to reconnect.
Oh, okay, but it's okay if I keep talking, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, good. So let me just go ahead and talk a little bit about what Douglas College is. So we are the largest public college in British Columbia by the number of students and the number of programs that are bachelor's degrees and postbaccalaureate programs. Okay, so we have about 20,000 students studying at Douglas College, and then about 3,500 are international students. Okay, so we offer programs that are different by the length. So we have bachelor's degrees that are 4 years long, something very common and typical. We also have short-term 2-year and 1-year programs that are diplomas for somebody who graduated from high school. And then we also have, for if you have a bachelor's degree already or a master's degree from your home country, from Turkey, then you can look into our 1-year or 2-year post-baccalaureate programs. So post-baccalaureate is something, it's an interesting program because it gives you hands-on practical experience. You already have a full 4-year education from your home country, but then the post-baccalaureate will help you either change your industry or get that Canadian practical experience that can make you more employable. So I hear a lot from students who are asking, oh, do you have masters? Well, colleges in Canada do not offer master's programs, but a post-baccalaureate is a nice alternative that's more practical and applied. I actually graduated with a master's degree from Canada, and from my personal experience, a lot of employers, when I was looking for my first job in Canada, were thinking that I am what they call overqualified but underexperienced. So they thought I have a lot of theoretical knowledge, I can do research, but they were not sure if I can do, like some hands-on work. So if I graduated at that point from a college with a post-baccalaureate degree, potentially I could find a job faster because I would have that practical experience that employers are looking for. Okay, so we offer over 100 programs at Douglas College, and then we have 6 departments. So the most popular programs among our Turkish students are the programs in commerce and business. Okay, so I think the top 3 most popular programs are of course, all the IT programs, programs in cybersecurity, in data analytics, and we offer several programs that are undergraduate for somebody who graduated from high school, and post-baccalaureate programs in the IT sector. What's good about our IT programs is they come with practical experience or co-op. So during your program, you not only take classes, but you also are involved in multiple projects, and you also can take 1 semester off and work full-time to get that practical experience as an IT professional. Other programs that are popular in the Commerce and Business Department are marketing and supply chain management. I would say these would be the top 3. Marketing professionals, as I mentioned, in British Columbia, we definitely need more marketing professionals, and there is a lot of jobs in here because we have a lot of growing businesses here, and especially with the pandemic, a lot of business went online, and then so companies had to quickly readjust themselves and change their marketing strategy to be able to reach out to their customers online. So from the experience of my friends who were here in the marketing industry during the pandemic, they did not lose jobs, but they actually have had more opportunities to get hired, and then they're still very busy. Supply chain management is another interesting program because Vancouver is a very major connection point between all the businesses that come from the United States and from the whole world, because we have the ocean here, so it's a port. So a lot of goods, a lot of trade comes through Vancouver and in Vancouver. And then if you are more of a sciencey person, if you're thinking about a career in medical field, then you can look at our biology and chemistry programs in the Faculty of Science and Technology, because to become a doctor in Canada, you need about 8 to 10 years, but your first step would be to get a bachelor's of science. And then biology and chemistry associate degrees, these are university transfer programs, would be the first step to obtain that Bachelor of Science. Then you would be going to medical school, getting your residency, getting your practical experience to become, and then you finally become a doctor. Other popular science and technology programs that we're offering are the engineering university transfer program and the computing science university transfer program. So these programs are limited, so we have a limited number of seats, so I would encourage you to apply early if this is the program that you're interested in taking, and then you are working towards your Bachelor of Computing Science or a Bachelor of Engineering. Again, these are the first step to obtain that and start your career in these fields. Sports science program in science, technology, and department is another unique program. Canada in general is very concerned about the overall health, about the fitness of Canadians. So if you're interested in the career in a sports science and as a fitness instructor, if you want to open your own fitness facility over here, then sports science program is definitely one of the programs I would recommend checking out. If you are in the artsy or more in the humanities, then we offer a large number of programs in music, theater, and political science and psychology program. Personally, psychology is one of my most favorite departments at Douglas College. The instructors working there are all actively practicing psychologists, and then they're always very helpful when you ask them questions. So I think it's a very healthy and a friendly environment to study in if you choose your career in psychology. And then finally, two very popular programs are called Early Childhood Education and Health Information Management programs. As I mentioned earlier, the health sector and social services sector are the top sector where we have most jobs in British Columbia. So if you are choosing your career in early childhood education, helping children, opening your own daycare, a career in education, or if you want to be in the health field, then these would definitely be a very good programs to go into in terms of your future careers. All right, so I'm going to skip this slide, but this is just an example for everybody how you can choose your program at Douglas College. So first, you would be looking at the major industries where we have most jobs, right? Because you want to know what kind of job you can get after you graduate. And then depending on your current level, if you finished high school or you finished your bachelor's, I'm sure we can find a program for you, depending on your budget, depending on how long you want to study here. For example, if you're looking for a career in marketing, if you just graduated from high school, then we can offer you a 2-year diploma, or we can also offer a bachelor's in marketing, depending on your budget and the length of study. But if you already have a bachelor's degree from Turkey, then we offer a 1-year marketing post-degree program. We offer a communications post-degree program. So for anyone and any level of education, and we should be able to find a program for you so you can jumpstart your career in Canada. So here are a couple of photos of where we are located. Douglas College is located about 40 minutes away from downtown Vancouver. So this is one of our major facilities. We are having here our career center that helps students find their jobs while they're studying or after they graduate. They will not give a job to you, but they will definitely assist you along the way with a review of your resume. They have a bunch of workshops, career workshops. They run career fairs, and then all other different coaching sessions. And then also, what's important, they connect you to potential employers. We also have a wonderful gym facility here and a wonderful library. We also have a theater here where our theater students practice their skills. And then this is where is the home to our office, International Students Office, where we do academic and career and immigration advising. This facility is right downtown New Westminster. So you are located close to stores, close to clinics, close to fitness centers, and close to the River Valley, which is about 5-minute walk. And then this is my favorite Coquitlam campus. This is where we have hospitality programs and health sciences programs at Douglas College. So again, this is a large facility, about 5-minute walk from the train station. And then it's about 45 minutes away from downtown Vancouver. It's located in a very quiet and safe area. So for example, if you're traveling with your family, with your spouse, with your children, this would be a good place to study and rent your place nearby. Okay, so I mentioned a practical experience. This is something that your potential employers are looking for after you graduate and you look for your first job. So at Douglas College, we offer many opportunities to get the practical experience. Most of our 2-year programs and bachelor's degrees give you an opportunity to get a co-op. Co-op is ultimately a paid practicum in the middle of your program. So when you study for 2 semesters, then you take a break, and then you work full-time. For example, if you study IT, then you can work for one of the IT firms. You can work for our IT department at Douglas College. If you study an accounting program, then you can work for a bank or a consulting accounting firm for our tax industry. So once you have done that practicum, then you go back to studying and you graduate from Douglas College and get your work permit. Those students who have done the paid practicum as part of their program definitely have higher chances to get employed after they graduate, because you get to know people in the industry and they can give you a good reference. They can recommend you to somebody, to a potential employer. So I would definitely recommend doing a paid practicum during your program. So working at, a lot of students ask, oh, can I work during my studies? And then can I work after I graduate? And yes, Canada is one of the most friendly countries for international students in terms of getting their work experience. When you study at Douglas College, then you have opportunity to work off campus for up to 20 hours a week for almost any employer and get that additional, practical experience. You can also work on campus. We have over 50 jobs available right now during the pandemic on campus. And then before the pandemic and after the pandemic, we usually have about 150 jobs available on campus for our students. If you come with a family, with your spouse, then your spouse may apply for something that's called an open work permit during your studies to help you a little bit with your expenses. And then after you graduate, you may be eligible to apply for something that's called post-graduation work permit, which can be given to you for up to 3 years. And then it will give you an opportunity to work for almost any employer. And then again, your spouse may have a chance to get an open work permit as well. And then if you wish to stay in Canada a little bit longer, then we have a few immigration programs in Canada, federal and provincial nominee programs. And then when you apply for permanent residency in Canada, your work experience is definitely one of the key factors. So if you did have a postgraduate work permit after you graduated, then that may increase your chances for permanent residency. Okay, so talking about the tuition and fees and the scholarships that we have available at Douglas College. We have multiple scholarships available to the students. They will not cover 100% of tuition and fees. Canadian education is paid by both Canadian students and international students have to pay for their education here. There is no free education. We do have regional award and education entrance award, which are up to 2,500 Canadian dollars. These are the discounts or grants or scholarships, sometimes they're called, for students who demonstrate high GPA requirement and also high English language skills, IELTS 7.0 and higher. You can inquire about our scholarships more with my colleague Onur after this webinar, our email, or you can also contact me directly to learn more about our scholarships. The tuition-wise, we have one of the most affordable tuition in British Columbia among colleges. So 1 year tuition will be about 18,360 Canadian dollars. So if you're looking at a 2-year program at Douglas College, then you need to multiply 18,000 by 2. If you're looking for a bachelor's degree, which is 4 years, just multiply that number by 4 to get an estimate of how much your education is going to be in Canada. To compare, studying at one of our top universities here in British Columbia will be double than that. So you're looking at about $40,000 for 1 year if you choose to study at university, then compared to studying at a college. Another number to compare is that the average salary in Canada is approximately 50,000 Canadian dollars per year. So if you invested about $36,000 for a 2-year program, then potentially you may get that money back within the first few years when you're working here. Accommodation. So I mentioned that we're about 45 minutes away from downtown Vancouver. So I'm located over here. And then if you take the train, so this is a train line, then you'll get to Douglas, to New Westminster campus or Coquitlam campus. So these are approximate prices for accommodation near our campus. Most of our students rent a room or an apartment nearby, and then renting a room near campus would be approximately from $650 to $800 Canadian dollars. To compare, downtown Vancouver, I'm renting here, and then I pay about $1,500 for a 1-bedroom. But if I rented near campus, then it would be a lot cheaper for me. It would be about $1,200 for the same 1-bedroom apartment. Start dates and admissions requirements. So obviously, we have 3 intakes a year. The fall intake, the September intake, is now full, and then we're preparing to meet our students soon. We are actively accepting applications for winter and summer. Next year, we will be teaching on campus. And then, so if you are willing to start in winter, my recommendation would be to apply soon, within the next month or so, just because our intakes are usually filling quite fast, and then I expect our winter will be full at the end of August. To apply to Douglas, it might be easier than you think. You will need to provide a high school diploma or master's degree or a bachelor's degree transcripts, and then you will need to provide your English test results. So typically we take IELTS and TOEFL to apply to Douglas College. If you feel that you need a little bit more extra practice, then in English, then we have agreements with several language schools in Canada. And then the good thing about studying, preparing your, improving your English in a language school is that if you apply to study at the language school that we have a partnership agreement with, then you will not need to take IELTS, or you will not need to take TOEFL anymore. We will consider your progress at the language school as our English admission requirement. To learn more about how this works, how to get into a language school and then get into Douglas after that, you can check with my colleague Onur after the presentation, and then will definitely help you with the whole process. It's a very easy and seamless process. I would say about 100 students every semester are applying to Douglas College through our University Pathways Language School. Okay, and a couple photos at the very end. So this is our Kitlam campus. It's quite beautiful in the fall. This is what our classrooms look like, and then this is where our business classes are taught, and then this is the students' lounge. The train station is right outside, and then as you can see, students are hanging out over here. Okay, and then here are our contact information. My colleague Onur is our representative in Turkey, in Toronto, and then in Vancouver offices. He can definitely assist with the admissions process and then help you choose the right program. And if you have any questions in regards to applying to Douglas, you can also reach out to me. I'll be happy to help. I'm the admissions officer for our Turkish students and the European region. I'm also holding an immigration consultant license, so anything that's related to immigration, I should be able to help you as well. Here are my contacts, email, and Instagram and LinkedIn. Feel free to reach out to me in any of these channels.
So we can start with the questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think which one is first? The bottom top. Let me see. How do I know which ones are top? Okay, I'll go. So bottom one is the first one, right?
Yes.
Okay, aşağıdan başlıyoruz. Which programs are the best to find a job after graduation? Which industries are most popular? May I just answer this in Turkish? I think you explained
Absolutely.
it very
I think we covered it all. Yeah.
Very extensively. Kübra Hanım, hangi programlar okuduktan sonra daha rahat iş bulmanıza yardımcı olur? Hangi endüstriler iyidir? Çok nadiren Tamara kadar detaylı anlatan ben kişi gördüm. Bayağı bir detaylı anlattı. Yani erken yaş çocuk eğitiminden lojistiğe, psikoloji hakkında ne gelirse anlattı. Uzun uzun anlattı. Bence bunun kaydını tekrardan dinlerseniz İngilizce bilginize istinaden ne kadarsa bakın tekrarda açtı hatta. Birçok konuyla ilgili bilgi verdi. Sunum bence bir tekrar izleyebilirsiniz. Do you offer any non-degree diploma program in cybersecurity? I don't know what it means by non-degree. It means like 1 or 2, I guess. Is that what he means?
If you are referring to post-baccalaureate programs, something that you already have a bachelor's, and then you want to quickly get an education and join the Canadian workforce, then we offer 1 year and 2 year programs in computing studies, information systems, and we have a 2 year program in cybersecurity. Yeah, post-baccalaureate.
The 2 year program is post-degree?
It's a post-degree. If a student is interested in undergraduate, then as part of our computing studies information systems diploma after high school, you can take cybersecurity classes as well. Yeah.
Classes, okay.
It's part of you can specialize in cybersecurity. Yeah.
Ceyda Hanım sormuş, herhangi bir diploma programı var mı cybersecurity, yani sanal güvenlik alanında? Üniversite mezunlarına özel 2 senelik direkt sanal güvenlik, cyber security diye bir diploma programı var. Lise mezunları için, üniversite mezunları da gidebiliyor buna. Ona bir kısıtlama yok. Onda da information technology, yani Türkçesini unuttum, information, IT alanında bölüm okuyabilirsiniz. Orada da sanal güvenlikle ilgili dersler alıp o alanda uzmanlaşabilirsiniz. Zeynep Hanım, yardımcı olsanız, information technology'nin Türkçesi iletişim neydi? Bilgi işlem miydi? Hatırlayamıyorum. Zeynep Hanım bizi duyuyor mu? Information technology. Evet. What's the proof? I forgot something in Turkish. Information technology.
Computing studies, information systems, international technology, tech sector.
Computing studies, okay. Bilgisi okay. Bilişim alanında okuyup sanal güvenlikte uzmanlaşabilirsiniz dedi. What's English proficiency required to get admission bachelor's degree? Do you have different English proficiency requirement levels for different programs? Postgrad?
The majority of our programs require IELTS 6.5.
The post-secondary ones too, or?
Yes, so the IELTS 6.5 is the minimum requirement for most of our programs, and then no less than 6.0 in each band. And then for engineering program, we require IELTS 7.0, but the majority of our programs are 6.5.
What about Duolingo?
Duolingo, we're accepting temporarily. During COVID, we require a score of 110.
Okay.
Yeah.
Programların neredeyse hepsi 6,5 IELTS gerektiriyor. Salahuddin Bey sormuş. 6,5 gerektiriyor. Mühendislik için olan 7 gerektiriyor. Ve Duolingo'yu geçici süreyle kabul ediyorlar. Onda da 110 kabul ediyorlar. Salahuddin Bey, well, she answered also in English, so no need to repeat the English one. Does Douglas College accept PTE? PTE,
yes.
Pearson? Yeah, okay.
Yes, we accept PTE, yeah.
What's the level, do you know? They can check.
56, I believe, yeah.
Pearson sınavı var. PTE diye bahsettiği İngilizce sınavı. Orada da 56 gerekiyormuş. O da IELTS, TOEFL, Duolingo gibi bir sınav. Duolingo bunların en kolayı. Online yapılıyor. Sadece korona zamanı kabul edecekler. Sonradan kapatacaklar onu bildiğim kadarıyla. Kabul etmeyecekler. What grades do you need to get into Douglas College?
You need a minimum of 60%.
And for some programs, there are certain courses that you should have taken as prerequisites.
That's correct. Yes, for most programs, we will check if you have mathematics grade 12, if you are applying to undergraduate program. So, and then mathematics grade 12 needs to be 60% or higher.
Even if it's a totally unrelated to, like, industry field?
Most programs will require mathematics, yes.
Even psychology, like something like psychology even? For
psychology, if it's your first education, the way Canadian curriculum works, as your first education, you need to be taking some classes in science, some classes in art, plus the whole bunch of classes from your specialization, which is psychology. So for the classes in science that you are required to take to graduate and get your diploma, you will need mathematics, yeah.
Many people don't study math in their last year. So what do they do if they want to get in?
Mathematics 11 or 12 is something
11.
that would be required. We have a great agreement with a school that's called ILSC that offers a virtual high school and allows you to graduate with an Ontario high school diploma.
Really?
So as part of that program, you can take a standalone mathematics 11 or mathematics 12 class. Okay, so it works just like university pathway. You enroll and you take that class. You can take it online from your home. And then you can complete that mathematics 11 or 12 in as early as 8 weeks. So you completed it, you got a grade, and now we'll take it.
This is new information for me.
It is a new, very exciting information. I can definitely share more with you and then whoever is listening about how to get a mathematics 11 or 12 grade if you need it.
Sema Hanım, Douglas College'a girmek için ne notlara sahip olmamız gerektiğini sormuş. Ben onun üzerine ekstra soru da sordum. %60 gerekiyor not ortalamanız. Bir de bazı bölümlere girmek için bazı almanız gereken dersler oluyor. Lise 11 veya 12 matematiği almış olmanız gerekiyor. Ben de herkesin matematik almadığını sordum. Onda da %60 gerekiyor bu arada. Eğer matematik 11 veya 12 dersleriniz yoksa o zaman partner olan bir okulları var. ILSC, o da bir dil okuludur. O da biz beraber çalıştığımız bir dil okulu. Hatta ben 16 yaşındayken gitmiştim bu dil okuluna. Yıllar önce, yaklaşık 20 yıl önce. Orada online olarak eğer ki yoksa matematik dersiniz alabilirsiniz diyor. What's the rank of Douglas College in Canada? I don't know. Number one?
We're not number one. We're top 10.
For colleges, top 10?
For colleges, there is no universal ranking like we have for university, like McLean's university ranking. So for colleges, it's a little bit different. But I would say in terms of the number of students, in terms of the employability rates for our graduates, we're the top 10 in the country. Most of our graduates would be getting a job within the first year. I would say over 90% after graduating.
birçok sıralama oluyor dünyada, biliyorsunuz. İşte McLean's gibi başka birçok üniversitelerin sıralandığı, ama kolejler için böyle bir şey yok diyor. Fakat öğrenci sayısı, bir de öğrenciler mezun olduktan sonra iş bulma imkanları açısından ilk 10'dayız diyor ve öğrencilerimizin de %90'ı ilk sene buluyorlar diyor iş. Yani mezun oldukları ilk sene iş bulabiliyorlar. Bu önemli bir şey bence. Selam, webinara ilk kez katılıyorum. Üniversite mezunuyum. Kanada göçmenlik programına ilgileniyorum. İngilizce iyi sayılmaz. Buradaki eğitim işi yani. She's asking, I'm a university graduate. I'm interested in Canadian immigration. My English is not that very well. I am interested in education and immigration, education and employment opportunities there, but they can consult me later on about a very general.
Yeah, I'll be happy to discuss. I mean, I covered it in the presentation when I talked about the major industries where we have most jobs. So this is something you may be looking into. You may also go into job search websites in Canadian job search websites to see where we have most jobs. Again, what are the employers' expectations from you? Then this can give you a better idea about what potentially employers are looking for in here, and which program to start, right? We in British Columbia, I wouldn't say Craigslist.
There are ones on Craigslist, I would say. There are quite a few. Even on Kijiji.
Not the high-paid jobs for sure. I would say Indeed. Yeah, that's correct.
Not everyone is so lucky, but Monster.
Monster.ca, another good job website. It's called Job Bank.
Job Bank, the Canadian one. Yes, okay.
Jobbank.gc.ca.
I guess I was always getting the cheap jobs, so it's my memory. Sorry.
Right. One very cool website is our it's called Top 100 Occupations.
I also remember Workopolis. I think.
Work BC Top Occupations. I'm usually direct our listeners and then my students to government websites. So there is something that's called BC Labor Market Outlook, and then there's also 100 top occupations BC. Let me see if I can find the link. Workbc.ca.
I'm sending labor market industry, BC Labor Market Outlook. Oh no, this is not the one. But we sent quite a few. So
this one. So there is 100 occupations in BC, a list that government usually posts. And then this 100 occupations means this is where we'll have most jobs available in the next 10 years. So it can give you a better idea of what to study. Okay. So the typical pathway for our students will look like this. Well, this is something I've done personally. You come here to study, you graduate, you get a 3-year work permit, or like the length of the work permit will depend on the length of your program here. And that's if you graduated from a 2-year program, for example, at Douglas College, so a postbaccalaureate diploma or an undergraduate diploma, you apply for a postgraduate work permit, which allows you to work for almost any employer. You work you get a job, obviously, you start working. If you have worked for a year in a job that's skill level A or B, which means it requires college or university education, you may potentially be eligible to apply for a permanent residence over here in the program that's called Canadian Experience class. So your Canadian work experience would be important. The final decision is made by IRCC. We don't have control over the decisions, but coming to Canada to study, get a work permit definitely makes things easier for you. You can talk more with Anur about it.
You're speaking like a licensed consultant. You're saying like it's possible. I'm gonna tell them it's very, very possible. It's not like maybe, Yeah, you're speaking like a
You know,
lawyer.
lots of factors are involved: experience, age, medical admissibility, criminal admissibility. But there is a definitely pathway existing that IRCC, that Canada created for international students. It is possible. A lot of it depends on our students, right? How proactive they are.
We sent all the websites, the jobbankgc.ca, both you and I sent. So all of them except the cheap Craigslist one are ones that they can refer to. That's my poor one. Craigslist dışındaki her şeye bakabilirsiniz orada. Orada çok daha düşük seviyede işler var. Workopolis var, Jobbank, bir sürü şey gönderdik. Orada iş imkanları nelerde daha çok iş olduğuna falan bakabilirsiniz. One thing you already covered, 2-year, I'm interested in programs, 2-year programs that could give me a 3-year work permit. All of them do. All 2-year programs. Upon graduation, you're eligible. You're eligible for a 3-year work permit. Not automatic, but yes. But all of them qualify.
There are a few eligibility criteria. So,
but your programs qualify, right? Sorry to interrupt. All your 2-year programs qualify. That's what they meant.
Yeah, all of 2-year programs at Douglas College may qualify you for a 3-year work permit. There is an interesting thing. You can also combine 2 1-year programs for a length of a 2-year program, and then you may be eligible for a 3-year work permit. It's not given to everybody automatically. You need to study full-time.
But it has to be post-grad? It has to be post-grad or the combination?
It has to be a combination of 2 1-year programs. It doesn't have to be a postgraduate. We have certificates as well. But generally, it's more common that students in postgraduate studies combine those 2 programs. Yeah.
2 yıllık bir program okuduğunuzda Douglas College Devlet Koleji olduğu için tüm programları size 3 yıl çalışma izni başvurusu yapma hakkı kazandırıyor. Tabii doğal olarak şunu söylüyor. Diğer başka bir sürü kriter var. Program bitirmiş olmanız, çok ara vermemiş olmanız gerekir. İşte sabıka kaydınız olmaması gerekir vesaire vesaire. Bir sürü şeylerden bahsettik göçmenlikle ilgili. Onun dışında 2 tane 1 senelik program da bitirebilirsiniz. Üniversite mezunu veya lise mezununa özel olan, açık olan programlar. 2 tane 1 senelik program da birbirlerini tamamlıyorsa onların da belli kriterleri var. Sonra danışabilirsiniz bize. 2 1 senelik program peş peşe birbirini tamamlıyorsa, komplime ediyorsa onun sonunda da 3 senelik iş izni için eligible dediği, yani nasıl diyeyim, aday olabiliyorsunuz. How many credits we get per semester? 30? How is it? What's the number?
So generally, students take 3 to 4 classes per semester. So this is 9 to 12 credits. You need to be a full-time student to be eligible for a postgraduate work permit. So that would be 9 credits or 3 classes per semester. This typically means you'll be studying in class for about 15-20 hours, and then you should spend about 15 to 20 hours for your homework. So 30 to 40 hour a week, that's what you're looking at.
Minimum 3 ders almanız gerekiyor ki full-time öğrenci statüsünde olabilmeniz için. Yoksa study permit'le orada durma hakkınız yok aslında. Minimum 3 ders, 9 kredi. Her ders bir 3 kredi ediyor. 3 veya 4 ders, yani 9 ile 12 ders, 12 kredi arası dönem başı. Yani sene içinde 18 ile 24 kredi arası. 15 saat ile 20 saat arasında ders. Bir de 15-20 saatte çalışmanız gerekir diyor. Ders çalışmak da önemli. Ondan bahsetti. The application admission requests processed for the student. So how long does it take for it's about 2 weeks maybe, application?
Yeah, approximately. So what I've seen in the 3 years at Douglas College is that the applications, when they come through the help of our regional representative, which is Can Be Onur, then they will help you with the collecting and translation of all the documents that we need, and then they pass them on to us, and then we should be able to make the decision within about a week to 2 weeks, depending on the program.
Başvuru yaklaşık 1 ile 2 hafta arasında sürüyor. Bütün başvuru ve kabul süreci. Bir lisanslı çalışan beraber bir acenta üzerinden başvursanız mesela biz yardımcı olabiliriz. Bununla ilgili herhangi bir sizin ekstra bir masrafınız olmuyor ama biz dosyalarınıza bakıp kontrol edip onlara gönderince işlemler daha hızlanıyor. 1 hafta ile 2 hafta arasında, genelde 10 gün içinde Douglas hızlı. Douglas College diğer okullara göre çok daha hızlı cevap veriyor. I said Douglas is quite fast and much better than many
Fast
other
and
colleges.
efficient. We're
Yeah,
trying to, yeah.
much better than other colleges. I know, ben çünkü birçok kolejde çalışıyorum. Bazı kolejler 5-6 haftada da cevap veriyor. Some of them reply in 5-6 weeks. How many hours can they work per week? It's 20. It's 20 or 24.
It's 20 hours off campus, and then it's no limit of hours on campus during their studies. And then when you have a winter, like a Christmas break or other breaks, then you can work full time. And then if you are taking a co-op or paid practicum during your program, you can also work full time.
In addition to your other work, or just your co-op, during co-op?
During co-op, you work about 40 hours full time. I don't think you can do 40 and something else on top of it. That's all.
Okay. Co-op sırasında 40 saat. Kampüste çalışıyorsanız herhangi bir sınır yok. 40 saat ya da 50 saat. Gerçi çok 50 saatte olacak hali yoktur. Kampüs dışı çalışıyorsanız 20. I heard that it's 24 hours. The legal limit. It's not true, right? It's like
it's 20 hours. It's black
20.
and white.
Black and white. Who told 24?
As an immigration professional, please, I'm just telling you, please do not break that rule. 20 is 20. It's not 21. It's not 24.
You know, when you speed on the highway, it's like 100, but you can do 110. No.
It's 20 hours. You don't want to have any issues. You have to think long term and yes. Always abide by the law during your studies because the cost of that error can be too high. It can cost you a postgraduate work permit. It can cost you your permanent residency.
20 saatin üzerinde çalışmanız durumunda bir sorun başta yaşamazsınız ama sonradan okulu bitirdikten sonra postgraduate work permit denilen okul sonrası çalışma iznine başvurduğunuzda bunu gören yetkili size bunu vermeyebilir. Ondan olabilirsiniz veya ilerisinde göçmenlikten olabilirsiniz. Aman diyor, kurallara uyun. Psikoloji bölümüne başlamak için kendi ülkem. One student wants to study psychology and I don't think he needs, but I just want to tell you. Do I need to write the university entrance exam in my own country? No, you don't have anything like that. Some countries do, like Germany does. Canada doesn't. Right?
No, we will be assessing your high school diploma.
That's it.
And that's what we'll be assessing, and your English.
Some countries asked for you to write the university entrance exam in Turkey, but Canada doesn't, I know. Bazı ülkeler bunu istiyor. Mesela Almanya'ya gitmek isterseniz işte üniversite sınavına girmiş, yerleşmiş olmanız gerekiyor bir üniversiteye. Hatta işte gideceğiniz üniversiteye, yerleştiğiniz üniversiteye göre bile karar veriyorlar. Kanada'da herhangi bir şey yok böyle. Lise diploma ve transkripti. Tabii üniversite mezunuysanız da üniversite diploma transkriptiniz. Ona göre sizi alıyorlar bölüme. Is it expensive to live in Vancouver? I mean more than Toronto. I think it's about the same. More or less, no? Yeah.
These are both very expensive cities, I would say. But because Vancouver is smaller, it might be easier for you to find cheaper accommodation and still be relatively close to downtown compared to Toronto, for example. In downtown Vancouver, well, I'm renting my apartment for $1,550 Canadian dollars. I do not believe you can find an apartment downtown Toronto for that amount of pricing. So I would say if you live here a little bit longer, you kind of find the ways where you to find accommodation cheaper. So yes, it is more expensive than smaller towns, but there's also more facilities you can use here. And then there's climate and then so many other options.
Kanada'nın en pahalı iki şehri bu iki şehir, Vancouver'la Toronto. Yaklaşık bilene yani aynılar, yakınlar diyeyim ama Vancouver'da dediği doğru Tabara'nın. Şehir merkezine, şehrin göbeğinde $1,500 düzgün bir yer bulmak Vancouver'da bir tık daha kolay olabilir Toronto'ya göre. Toronto biraz daha dağınık, daha büyük bir şehir. Tabii Tamara Vancouver'ı daha çok seviyor. Orada çalışıyor, doğal olarak Vancouver söyleyecek. Ama genel olarak söyleyeyim, dediği doğru ve iki şehir birbirinden çok farklı değil. Vancouver biraz daha rahat olabilir bu konularda ama. Çünkü Toronto daha büyüdü, yani daha büyük bir şehir oldu, şu anda en büyüğü orası. Is GPA really so important when it comes to data analytics, PD admissions? He's bargaining with you already. Yes. I think it's important.
60% is 60% is the cutoff GPA that we would be considering for admission to Douglas College. Is it important for your future employment? Not necessarily. Your employers will likely be looking at the projects you've done, and they'll be assessing you at the interview. But to get into studies at one of Canadian colleges or universities, yeah, you didn't need to show prior good grades.
%60 gerekiyor. Mustafa Bey sormuş, GPA data analitiği için önemli mi diye. %60 sınır, onun üzerinde olmanız lazım. For PhD programs a question, I'm passing that. PhD yani doktora programları bu kolejde yok. Burası öyle bir eğitim veren bir kurum değil. Üniversitelerde olur o. Teacher reference letter, is it important for PhD programs? It's not related to yours. I graduated from these two diplomas. Okay, I've experienced more than 6 years, 9 years in this. Well, I think you explained this. This person said he has 2 degrees and he has lots of experience. He's thinking about doing a master's degree, but you have different alternatives. You were explaining like that maybe it's a better thing to have college.
So, well, whether you want to go for a master's or PhD, or whether you want to go to a post-degree diploma as an alternative, it very much depends on your industry. Okay, for some, for example, if you have a career in teaching at the higher education, if you want to do research, if you want to go into science, then the master's degree would definitely be something I would recommend. I would recommend checking out graduate programs at a university. If you are in the industries such as IT, marketing, accounting, finance. So some industry where practical experience, hands-on experience is something that Canadian employers are looking for, then you don't want to appear overqualified. So this is something that happened to me 10 years ago. I got a master's. It was difficult to find my first job because they said, oh, you can do research, but we're not sure if you can answer phone calls, right? So I was considered overqualified and too much theory, right, that I had, but a practical experience, not that much. So depending on your industry. So I can see you are in the software programming, in IT, then definitely the first thing that employers will be looking for, they'll ask you to, they'll invite you for an interview, and then most likely their second part of the competition will be to ask you to do some project or to complete some test. So talk about the projects you've completed. So this is something they'll be looking for. Probably 80% of people I know in Vancouver are in the IT industry. And then every time I hear about how they hire, how recruitment processes, it's always a 2-stage process, which includes some practical work and practical experience. So this is when graduating from a post-degree or post-baccalaureate program can give you more practical experience compared to doing some research work. Okay?
Master'ın işinize yarayacak alanları olabilir ama bir kolejden postgrad bir diploma programı almak, co-op yapmak, pratik eğitim almak sizin iş bulmanızda ve genelde de pratik alanda bir deneyim isteyen işverenlerin gözünde daha avantajlı olmanız, daha üstte olmanız için daha faydalı olabilir. Sizin ne istediğinize bağlı ama ben size söyleyeyim, Tamara'nın dediği gibi bir kolejden mezun olmak emin olun size daha rahat iş buldurur. My PDGBE or PD data, I don't know what these programs are.
Data, yeah.
The other one, I don't know. Data is obvious, but PD...
Data analytics, it's pretty new, yeah.
You know, the other one, PDGBE. What is PDGBE? I don't know. But my lack of work experience, would that be an impact on my admission? I think you don't require work experience in these, or do you?
Post-degree program in global banking and economics.
No. Yes,
that's
okay.
what I know. That's what PDGB is.
But do they need to have work experience? No.
For admission, we look at 2 factors, your English and then your university diploma, your GPA, right? We're not looking at your work experience.
Önemli bir soru. Güzel, hani bir konuyu açmış oldu. Mustafa Bey söylüyor. 2 tane istediği bölümle alakalı. İş deneyimimin olmaması benim okula kabul edilmemle ilgili bir handikap yaratır mı? Hayır. Çünkü sadece İngilizceniz ve lise veya üniversite diploma ve bitiş notunuza ve transkriptinize bakıyoruz diyorlar. İş deneyimi istemiyorlar. Bir MBA gibi değil bu yani. Master değil sonuçta. Onun için iş deneyimi gerekmiyor. Şimdi okuyorum. So one student is in her undergrad, and can I complete my undergrad in Canada at Douglas? I don't know, but it's not so easy to transfer credits.
So there's two factors. Let me talk as an immigration professional in this sense. There's two factors. First of all, as Anur mentioned, yeah, it's not so easy to transfer all the credits to a Canadian institution because they will be looking at the curriculum of each particular course you completed, and usually curriculums are quite different. So I would not believe that all of your credits will be transferred. Second, a very important factor, I would say maybe it's a number one factor for somebody wishing to transfer, is that if you transfer your foreign credits to a Canadian school and you plan to apply for a postgraduate work permit, the credits that have been transferred reduce the length of your program at a Canadian school for the purpose of postgraduate work permit. So, for example, if you are studying in a 2-year program at Douglas College, you may be eligible for a 3-year work permit. But if you transferred, let's say, 4 months of credits, your program, instead of 2 years program, is 1 year and 8 months. And because your program got shorter, you may be eligible for a shorter work permit. So instead of a 3-year work permit, your work permit will be the length of your actual program, which is 1 year and 8 months. Okay, so you are thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to get a 3-year work permit. You got a shorter work permit because you shortened your program. 2 years is kind of a cut-off length of the program. If your program is 2 years and longer, you may be eligible for a 3-year work permit. If your program is under 2 years, and then it just became under 2 years because you transferred your credits, you only are eligible for a work permit equal the length of your program, okay? So will 1 year and 8 months be enough for you to get enough work experience if you are wishing down the road to apply for permanent residency? Not everybody finds their job right away. Some people take 3 months, 4 months, 1 month, maybe 6 months till you find the job of your dream, till you can use that work experience for immigration. So I would not recommend generally to transfer your foreignly earned credits to Canada, because it will affect your postgraduate work permit and your immigration in the long run if you transfer too many credits.
And it's not usually quite often possible. That's what I know as well. Many colleges
quite rare.
Yeah.
It's quite rare if you wish to obviously reduce the length of your studies, and if you wish to reduce the cost of your studies. Some people choose to transfer credits. It's usually a lengthy process after you've been admitted to a college, and that usually takes 3 to 4 months to know how many credits have been transferred. But it would only make sense for somebody who is wishing to study here and then go back home and use that experience at home. Yes. For somebody who wishes to stay here on a work permit, this would probably not be most ideal option.
Bu kredi transferiyle ilgili önemli detaylar paylaştı aslında, çok değerli bilgiler. Ders transferi çok zor oluyor. Türkiye'den veya başka bir ülkeden mesela kredi transferi yapmak istiyorsunuz. Gideceğiniz bölüm diyelim 2 senelik bölüm. Diyorsunuz ki ben bu alanda bir eğitim aldım ya da buna benzer bir alanda. Toplamda 24 çarpı 2 48 kredilik bir program. Yani genelde 60'a falan tamamlanıyor. 60 kredilik bir programda 20 kredilik transfer yapmak istediniz. Kabul ediliyorsunuz. Edildikten sonra Türkiye'den transkriptinizi, ders tanımlarınızı gönderiyorsunuz. Kabul ederlerse diyelim sizin bu 60 kredilik programınız 40'a indi. Tamam, ama 40'a indiği zaman 2 sene yerine örneğin 1,5 sene okudunuz. 1,5 sene okuyunca hükümetin umurunda değil sizin kredi transferiniz. Diyor ki ben sana 3 sene çalışma izni vermek için minimum 2 sene okumuş olman gerekiyor. Ama şimdi görüyorum ki sen sadece 1,5 sene okumuşsun diyor ve 3 sene yerine belki 1,5 sene bile verebilir iş izni. Buna dikkat edin diyor. Yani tamam o paradan ve zamandan tasarruf edeceksiniz ama geleceğe dönük bu sefer de hem postgraduate work permit alamayabilirsiniz, daha az alabilirsiniz. Bir de okumuş olmak da size puan kazandırıyor Kanada'da göçmenlik için. Ya herkes göçmenlikle ilgileniyor diye diyemiyorum ama birçok kişi ilgili bu konuda. O alanda da puan kaybetmenize sebep olur. Ama şunu bilin, ben deneyimden söylüyorum. Çok zordur yani kredi transferi. Çok da nadir olur. 2-3 dersinize verir. O da bunu riske atmaya değmez. Masters in Architecture, no. You don't have any masters. Psychology, what GPA do I need for my high school? 60, you said. %60 gerekiyor Muhammed Bey. Muhammed Yahya Ayten. %60 gerekiyor. Bütün bölümlerde aynı. %60. What's your perspective on engineering? Is a self-developed engineer valuable to your school and so on? As you said, 60%. Just show us the 60%. Show us your language.
So
Last
perspective
question.
for engineers, I think he's asking about like the job prospects. Well, I would say engineers are definitely in high demand.
Like you're like the president. Okay. She's asking. Okay, sure.
I feel so. Do you think is valuable to you?
Probably, yeah.
Prospective engineers. So if you're wishing to evaluate your chances for admission to one of our programs, then you can definitely check it out with Onur or myself and just send us the transcripts for preliminary review after checking out our programs. Because we don't have obviously master's degrees in engineering, and engineering is usually a good field to get a graduate degree in. One option I can recommend is check our project management post-degree diploma. This is one of the popular programs among engineers who wish to get some management experience on top of their engineering degree already.
Açıkladı. Mühendisi olan beyefendi sormuştunuz. Tüm bilgileri sordu. Açıkladı onları. Onun dışında başka bir soru görmüyorum. I don't see any other questions. Dediğim gibi sunumu sonradan izleyebilirsiniz. Sonradan da hem Tamara ile hem benimle iletişim kurabilirsiniz. Sunumda e-mail, iletişim bilgilerini görmüştünüz. Ama ben ayrıca konuşmanın başında da yazdım. I wrote all our contact info, yours as well in the chat, just beginning of the presentation. Shtanova, right? Shtanova@douglascollege.ca.
That works, yeah. Shtanova @douglascollege.ca.
I copy-pasted. Yes.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. No, that's great. This is the contact information. You can take a photo if you wish, and I'm sure the recording will be available offline as well. Well, thank you very much for organizing and running this webinar. I hope this was useful. I'll always be happy to chat more about the potential opportunities for you.
Herkese teşekkürler. Thank you very much, Tamara. Zeynep Hanım.
Yes, thank you very much for your great presentation, Tamara and Onur Bey. It was a really informative webinar for the attendees, and we had a lot of questions, and you covered them all. Thank you for your answers too. And I would like to thank the participants in Turkish as well. Katıldığınız için teşekkür ederiz arkadaşlar. Douglas College ile ilgili diğer sorularınız için Tamara'ya ve Onur Bey'e chat kısmında paylaşılmış olan mailler yoluyla ulaşabilirsiniz. Yarınki webinarlarımızda görüşmek üzere. Thank you very much again. It was a pleasure to have you in IEFT Talks.
Thank you. Teşekkürler herkese.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye-bye.